Your personality creates your personal reality. Let that sink in for a moment. This is not just a nice philosophical idea. This is not just something that sounds good on a bumper sticker. This is actually how the universe works. Your personality, who you are, how you think, how you feel, how you act, is literally creating the life that you are experiencing right now. And if you want to change your life, if you want to create something new, you have to become someone new. You have to change your personality. Now let me break this down for you because I want you to really understand what I'm saying here. Your personality is made up of three things: how you think, how you feel, and how you act. That is it. Your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors. These three elements combined create what we call your personality. And your personality is producing your personal reality. So if you keep thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same emotions, and doing the same things, you're going to keep creating the same life. It is really that simple. Every morning when you wake up, you have a choice. You can wake up and immediately start thinking about all the problems in your life. You can start thinking about the person who wronged you, the bills you have to pay, the job you do not like, the relationship that is not working. And the moment you start thinking those familiar thoughts, you start feeling the emotions connected to those thoughts. You start feeling frustrated, you start feeling anxious, you start feeling resentful, you start feeling afraid. And those emotions then drive more of the same thoughts. And now you are caught in a loop. You're running a program. And this program is going to produce the same experiences today that it produced yesterday. But here is the beautiful thing. Here is the empowering truth that I want you to understand. You are not a victim of your biology. You are not a victim of your past. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You have within you right now the power to change. You have within you the ability to think new thoughts, to feel new emotions, to make new choices, and to create a completely new life. But it requires something of you. It requires that you become conscious of who you have been being. Most people live their entire lives unconsciously. They wake up in the morning and they run the same program. They think the same thoughts they thought yesterday. 95% of who you are by the time you're 35 years old is a set of memorized behaviors, emotional reactions, beliefs, perceptions, and attitudes that function like a computer program. 95%. That means only 5% of your mind is conscious. Only 5% of the time are you actually present, actually aware, actually paying attention to what you're thinking, feeling, and doing. So you can have all the best intentions in the world. You can wake up in the morning and say, today, I'm going to be positive. Today, I'm going to be patient. Today, I'm going to be loving. Today, I'm going to make different choices. But then life happens. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Your boss criticizes your work. Your partner says something that triggers you. And what happens? You react automatically. You go unconscious. You run the program. And before you know it, you're thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same emotions, behaving in the same ways. And at the end of the day, nothing has changed. This is why so many people feel stuck. This is why so many people feel like they cannot change. Because they're trying to change their life with the same mind that created it. They're trying to create a new future while they are still emotionally connected to the past. And it does not work that way. You cannot create a new life if you keep being the same person. You have to become someone new first. Now let me explain to you what is happening in your brain when you're running this unconscious program. Your brain is made up of nerve cells called neurons. And these neurons organize themselves into networks based on what you learn and what you experience. So if you've been thinking the same thoughts for 20 years, you have networks of neurons that fire together in very specific patterns. These patterns become hardwired. They become automatic. And every time you think a familiar thought, you are strengthening those neural connections. There's a principle in neuroscience that says neurons that fire together wire together. What does that mean? It means that every time you repeat a thought, a feeling, or a behavior, you are reinforcing the neural circuitry associated with it. You're making it easier for your brain to run that same program again in the future. So if you have been angry for 20 years, you have a well-developed neural network for anger. If you have been anxious for 20 years, you have a well-developed neural network for anxiety. If you have been thinking thoughts of unworthiness and self-doubt for 20 years, those neural pathways are very strong. But here's the good news. The brain is neuroplastic. That means it can change. It can rewire itself. It can form new connections. It can prune away old connections that are no longer being used. So if you stop firing the old circuits and you start firing new circuits, over time your brain will physically change. You will literally become a new person at the level of your neurology. But there's a catch. You cannot just think your way to a new life. You also have to feel your way there. And this is where most people get stuck, because they try to change their thoughts, but they do not change their emotions. And emotions are incredibly powerful. In fact, emotions are more powerful than thoughts when it comes to creating your reality. Let me explain why. When you have an experience in your life, your brain processes that experience. But it is the emotional component of the experience that gives it meaning. It is the emotion that signals your brain that this is important. Pay attention, remember this. And when you remember something with strong emotion, it becomes embedded in your long-term memory. It becomes part of who you are. So think about the most significant events in your life. Think about the experiences that shaped you. I guarantee they all have a strong emotional component. Maybe it was a moment of great joy. Maybe it was a moment of deep pain. Maybe it was a moment of betrayal or loss or triumph. Whatever it was, the emotion is what made it memorable. The emotion is what made it stick. Now here's the problem. Most people are emotionally addicted to their past. They keep feeling the same emotions over and over again. And every time they feel those familiar emotions, they're signaling their body to live in the past. You see, your body does not know the difference between an actual experience and an emotion. To your body, they're the same thing. So if you keep feeling the emotions of your past, your body literally believes it is still living in the past. Let me give you an example. Let us say you had a very painful experience 10 years ago. Someone betrayed you. Someone hurt you deeply. And that experience created very strong emotions. Anger, resentment, grief, hurt. Now that experience happened 10 years ago. It is over. It is in the past. But if you're still thinking about it every day, if you're still feeling those emotions, then as far as your body is concerned, it is still happening right now. Your body is producing the same chemistry, the same stress hormones, the same neural patterns as if the event were happening in this moment. You're literally living in the past. And if you're living in the past, how can you create a new future? You cannot, because you're signaling your body, your brain, your entire system that the past is more real than the future. You are telling your body that what happened to you is more important than what could happen for you. And your body believes you. Your body always believes you. This is why I say that the body is the unconscious mind. Your body is where your emotions live. Your body is where your memories are stored. Your body is the record of your past. And if you want to change your life, you have to change your body. You have to teach your body a new emotional state. You have to break the addiction to the familiar emotions that have been running your life. Now, how do you do that? How do you break free from the emotional patterns of the past? How do you teach your body to live in a new future instead of the familiar past? This is where the real work begins. And I want to be clear with you, it is work. It takes effort. It takes discipline. It takes practice. But it is absolutely possible. I have seen it happen thousands of times. I have seen people heal from diseases that doctors said were incurable. I have seen people transform their relationships, their careers, their finances. I have seen people create lives that they never thought possible. And it all started with the same thing. It all started with them deciding to change who they were being. The first step is awareness. You have to become conscious of the unconscious self. You have to shine a light on the programs that have been running your life. You have to observe your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors, without judgment, without trying to change them at first, just observing them. Because you cannot change what you're not aware of. So start paying attention. Start noticing what you think about when you first wake up in the morning. Notice what emotions are running in the background throughout your day. Notice how you react in certain situations. Notice the stories you tell yourself about why your life is the way it is. Just observe. Become a scientist studying yourself. And here's what you will find. You will find that most of your thoughts are the same thoughts you had yesterday. Research shows that the average person has around 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. And 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts they had the day before. 90%. So you're not really thinking new thoughts. You're just recycling the same mental content over and over again. And if thoughts create reality and you're thinking the same thoughts, you're going to keep creating the same reality. Once you become aware of your patterns, the next step is to make a different choice. And this is where it gets challenging. Because when you try to think a new thought, when you try to feel a new emotion, when you try to behave in a new way, your body is going to resist. Your body has become addicted to the familiar chemistry of your old emotional states. And when you try to change, your body is going to send you signals that something is wrong. Your body might make you feel anxious. It might make you feel uncomfortable. It might make you feel restless. It might even make you feel like you are dying. And this is the moment when most people give up. This is the moment when most people say this is too hard. This does not feel right. Something must be wrong. And they go back to their old patterns because the familiar feels safe, even if the familiar is painful. But I want you to understand something. That discomfort you feel when you try to change is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something is right. It means you're actually breaking free from the old program. It means your body is recognizing that you are doing something different. It means the change is working. You see, the body does not want to change. The body wants to maintain homeostasis. The body wants to stay the same because sameness feels safe. Your body has a very sophisticated system for maintaining equilibrium. And when you try to move outside of that equilibrium, when you try to create a new normal, your body is going to push back. It is going to try to bring you back to the familiar state. This is why change requires energy. This is why change requires will. This is why change requires a conscious decision that is greater than the program. You have to make a choice with such firm intention that that choice carries a level of energy that is greater than the hardwired programs in your brain and the emotional addiction in your body. And when you can do that, when you can make that choice and sustain it, that is when transformation begins. Let me talk about energy for a moment, because this is crucial to understanding how change really works. Everything in the universe is energy. You are energy. Your thoughts are energy. Your emotions are energy. And energy has a frequency. It has a vibration. And like attracts like, the energy you put out into the world is the energy you attract back. So if you're constantly feeling fear, anxiety, resentment, anger, you're putting out a very specific frequency. And that frequency is going to attract circumstances, people, and experiences that match it. You're going to keep creating experiences that make you feel more fear, more anxiety, more resentment, more anger. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because the universe is responding to the signal you are sending. But if you can change your energy, if you can elevate your emotional state, if you can start feeling gratitude, joy, love, excitement, before anything in your external world has changed, you are now sending a different signal. You are now broadcasting a different frequency. And the universe will respond to that new frequency by bringing you experiences that match it. This is what I mean when I say you have to feel the emotion of your future before your future arrives. Most people wait for something good to happen in their lives before they feel good. They wait for the relationship before they feel love. They wait for the promotion before they feel abundant. They wait for the healing before they feel grateful. But that is backwards. That is letting the external world control your internal state. And as long as you do that, you're always going to be a victim of circumstances. The key to creating a new life is to feel the emotion of your desired reality now, in this moment, before it has manifested. You have to feel grateful before you have something to be grateful for. You have to feel abundant before the money shows up. You have to feel love before the relationship arrives. You have to feel healthy before the healing occurs. This is not delusion. This is not pretending. This is understanding how reality actually works. Because here is the truth. The feeling is the prayer. The emotion is the magnetic signal that draws your desired reality toward you. When you combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion, you are sending a very powerful signal into the quantum field. And the quantum field responds to that signal by collapsing possibilities into realities that match your energetic state. Now, I know this might sound abstract. It might sound mystical, but there is actual science behind this. Let me explain. In quantum physics, we know that at the most fundamental level of reality, matter exists in a state of potential. Before it is observed, a particle exists as a wave of probability. It is not in any one place. It is potentially in many places simultaneously. But the moment you observe it, the moment you place your attention on it, the wave collapses into a particle. The potential becomes actual. The possibility becomes reality. What does this have to do with you in your life? Everything, because you're the observer. Your consciousness is what collapses the infinite possibilities of the quantum field into the specific reality you experience. And what determines which possibility becomes your reality? Your thoughts and your emotions, your state of being. So if you're constantly observing your life through the lens of lack, through the lens of fear, through the lens of limitation, you're collapsing possibilities that match those states. You are creating more lack, more fear, more limitation. But if you can shift your state, if you can observe life through the lens of abundance, through the lens of possibility, through the lens of love, you will collapse different possibilities. You will create different realities. This is why meditation is so powerful. This is why I am such a strong advocate for a daily practice of meditation. Because meditation allows you to disconnect from your outer world and go within. It allows you to move beyond your analytical mind, beyond your thinking brain, into the operating system where the real changes happen. You see, the analytical mind is what separates the conscious mind from the subconscious mind. When you are in beta brain wave state, which is your normal waking state, your analytical mind is very active. And this analytical mind is what keeps you stuck in the familiar. It is what says this is not going to work. This is impossible. Who do you think you are? You cannot change. You have always been this way. This is just who you are. The analytical mind is skeptical, is doubtful. It is rooted in the past. And as long as you are operating from the analytical mind, you cannot access the subconscious programs that are actually running your life. You cannot rewrite the software. You can only observe the outputs. But when you meditate, when you slow your brain waves down from beta into alpha, and even deeper into theta, you move beyond the analytical mind. You enter a state where you have direct access to the subconscious. And now you can begin to reprogram it. You can begin to install new beliefs, new thoughts, new emotional patterns. You can begin to create a new operating system for your life. This is not just theory. This has been measured. We have done extensive research with thousands of people, measuring brain wave activity, heart rate variability, genetic expression, immune function, and we have seen remarkable changes occur when people learn to meditate in this specific way. We have seen brain scans change. We have seen heart coherence improve. We have seen genes being upregulated and downregulated. We have seen immune function enhance. We have seen people heal from diseases that were considered permanent. And it all comes from learning how to change your internal state. Let me talk about the heart for a moment because this is so important. Most people think that the brain is the center of intelligence in the body. But actually, the heart is incredibly intelligent. The heart has its own nervous system, sometimes called the heart brain. It has over 40,000 neurons. It processes information and makes decisions independently of the brain. And it produces an electromagnetic field that is much larger and much more powerful than the electromagnetic field produced by the brain. When your heart is in a state of coherence, when it is beating in a rhythmic, harmonious pattern, it sends signals to your brain that tell your brain to shift into a more coherent state as well. And when your brain and your heart are in coherence, you are in an optimal state for healing, for creativity, for performance, for manifestation. But here's the thing. Your heart becomes incoherent when you are living in survival mode. When you're constantly stressed, constantly anxious, constantly in fight or flight, your heart rhythm becomes erratic. It becomes chaotic. And this sends signals to your brain that reinforce the stress response. Your brain gets the message that something is wrong, that you are in danger, that you need to stay alert and defended. And this keeps you stuck in the very patterns that are creating the stress in the first place. So one of the most important things you can do to change your life is to learn how to move your heart into coherence. And the fastest way to do that is through elevated emotions. When you feel genuine gratitude, when you feel appreciation, when you feel love, when you feel compassion, your heart naturally moves into a coherent rhythm. And when your heart is coherent, your entire system becomes coherent. Your brain functions better. Your immune system functions better. Your hormones balance. Your genes express in healthier ways. Everything improves. This is why I emphasize cultivating elevated emotions so much. Not because I want you to be positive for the sake of being positive. Not because I want you to pretend that everything is okay when it is not. But because elevated emotions are actually the key to biological transformation. They are the key to changing your brain, your body, your genes, your health, your life. Now let me address something that I know some of you are thinking. You might be saying this sounds great, but you do not understand my situation. You do not understand what I have been through. You do not understand how hard my life has been. My trauma is real. My pain is real. My circumstances are real. How can I just change my emotions when I have real reasons to feel the way I feel? I hear you. I understand. And I want you to know that I am not dismissing your pain. I'm not dismissing your trauma. I am not saying that what happened to you does not matter. What happened to you matters. It shaped you. It affected you. It left an imprint on your brain and your body. But here is what I want you to consider. Holding on to that pain, staying connected to that trauma, living in those emotions is not serving you. It is not helping you. It is not making your life better. It is keeping you stuck in the past. It is keeping you in victim consciousness. It is preventing you from creating the future you deserve. At some point, you have to make a decision. You have to decide that your future is more important than your past. You have to decide that who you are becoming is more important than who you have been. You have to decide that your dreams are more important than your memories. And when you make that decision, really make it with your whole being, that is when transformation becomes possible. I am not saying it is easy. I am not saying the pain will disappear overnight. I'm not saying you will not have to work through things. But I am saying that you have more power than you realize. I am saying that you are not defined by what happened to you. I am saying that your past does not have to equal your future. The moment you accept that you are the creator of your life, everything changes. The moment you take full responsibility for your reality, you reclaim your power. As long as you are blaming other people, blaming circumstances, blaming your childhood, blaming the economy, blaming anything outside of yourself, you're giving your power away. You are saying that something out there is more powerful than you. You are saying that you are a victim. But when you say, I created this, even if it is painful to admit, even if it is hard to accept, you are also saying, I can create something different. You are saying, I have the power to change. You are saying, I'm not a victim. I am a creator. Now let me be clear. Taking responsibility does not mean blaming yourself. It does not mean making yourself wrong. It does not mean feeling guilty or ashamed. It simply means acknowledging that your inner world creates your outer world. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, your choices have all contributed to the life you are living. And if you can create this reality, you can create a different one. Let us talk about beliefs for a moment, because beliefs are so foundational to how we create our reality. A belief is just a thought you keep thinking. It is a thought that you have accepted as true. And once you accept something as true, it becomes a filter through which you see the world. It becomes a lens that shapes your perception. And your perception creates your reality. If you believe that life is hard, you will see evidence everywhere that life is hard. You will notice all the difficulties, all the obstacles, all the challenges. And you will miss or dismiss all the opportunities, all the blessings, all the good things. Your belief will filter your experience to match itself. And then you will say, see, I told you life is hard. Look at all this evidence. But someone with a different belief, someone who believes that life is full of opportunities, will see the same world and have a completely different experience. They will notice the opportunities. They will notice the possibilities. They will notice the good things. And they will say, see, life is full of opportunities. Look at all this evidence. Same world, different beliefs, different experiences, different realities. So what beliefs are you carrying? What thoughts have you accepted as true about yourself, about the world, about what is possible for you? Are these beliefs serving you? Are they helping you create the life you want? Or are they limiting you? Are they keeping you stuck? Most of our beliefs were installed when we were very young. Before the age of 7, children are in a theta brain wave state most of the time. This is a highly suggestible state. It is the state of hypnosis. And in this state, children are downloading programs from their environment, from their parents, from their teachers, from their culture. So you did not consciously choose most of your beliefs. You inherited them. You absorbed them. They were given to you by people who inherited and absorbed their beliefs from the people before them. And many of these beliefs are outdated. Many of them are limiting. Many of them are simply not true. But here's the good news. You can change your beliefs. You can uninstall the old programs and install new ones. You can choose what you want to believe. You can consciously create a belief system that supports the life you want to live. How do you do this? First, you have to identify the beliefs that are limiting you. What do you believe about yourself? Do you believe you are worthy? Do you believe you are capable? Do you believe you deserve good things? What do you believe about money? What do you believe about relationships? What do you believe about health? What do you believe about what is possible? Write these beliefs down. Look at them honestly. Ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Is this actually true? Is this serving me? What would I have to believe instead to create the life I want? Then you have to begin the process of installing new beliefs. And the way you do this is through repetition and emotion. Remember, neurons that fire together wire together. If you want to create a new neural pathway for a new belief, you have to think the new thought over and over again. You have to rehearse it. You have to repeat it. You have to make it familiar. But just thinking the thought is not enough. You also have to feel it. You have to emotionally embrace the new belief. You have to feel the truth of it in your body. Because when you combine thought with emotion, you create a strong neurological and biological change. You create a memory. You create an experience. And that experience becomes part of who you are. This is why affirmations alone often do not work. Because people say the words, but they do not feel them. They say I am abundant, but they feel poor. They say I am healthy, but they feel sick. They say I am loved, but they feel alone. And the feeling always wins. The emotion is always stronger than the thought. So if you want to change your beliefs, you have to change how you feel. Let me share with you a practice that I have found to be incredibly powerful. It is called mental rehearsal. And it is the process of using your mind to create an experience before you have it in physical reality. Athletes have been using this for decades. They mentally rehearse their performance before they compete. They see themselves executing perfectly. They feel the emotions of success. And research shows that mental rehearsal creates almost the same neurological changes as actual physical practice. So how can you use this to change your life? By mentally rehearsing the person you want to become. Every day, ideally in meditation, close your eyes and imagine yourself being the new you. See yourself thinking new thoughts. See yourself feeling new emotions. See yourself making new choices. See yourself behaving in new ways. See yourself living the life you want to live. Make it vivid. Make it real. Engage all your senses. Where are you? What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? How do you carry yourself? How do you speak? How do you interact with others? How do you feel inside? And most importantly, feel the emotions. Feel what it would feel like to be that person. Feel the joy. Feel the freedom. Feel the confidence. Feel the love. Feel the gratitude. Let those emotions flood your body. Let them become real to you. When you do this, you're priming your brain and body for a new experience. You are creating new neural pathways. You are teaching your body a new emotional state. You are sending a new signal into the quantum field. And you are beginning to become that new person before your external reality reflects it. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes. The more you rehearse the new you, the more automatic those thoughts, feelings, and behaviors become. And eventually, you do not have to think about it anymore. It becomes who you are. And when you become someone new, you automatically create a new life. Now I want to address another common obstacle that I see people face when they try to change. And that is the need for external validation. Many people want to change their internal state, but they keep looking to the outside world for evidence that it is working. They meditate for a week, and then they look around and say nothing has changed. They try to feel abundant, and then they check their bank account and feel disappointed. They try to feel healthy, and then they notice a symptom and feel discouraged. This is what I call Newtonian thinking. It is based on the old paradigm of reality where cause and effect are linear, where you have to see it to believe it, where the external world is more real than the internal world. But quantum reality works differently. In quantum reality, the internal world creates the external world. The observer affects the observed. What you believe becomes what you see. What you feel becomes what you experience. So you have to believe it before you see it. You have to feel it before it manifests. You have to become it before it shows up in your life. This requires a fundamental shift in how you relate to reality. It requires trusting in the unseen. It requires having faith in the process. It requires letting go of the need to know how and when things will happen and simply staying committed to your new state of being. The universe does not respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being. So stop wanting the new life and start being the person who lives that life. Stop waiting for circumstances to change and start changing yourself. Stop looking for evidence and start creating it through your state of being. I know this can be challenging. I know your senses are constantly telling you that the external world is real. I know it feels like circumstances are solid and fixed, but they are not. They are fluid. They are malleable. They are a reflection of consciousness. And when you change your consciousness, your circumstances will change. But you have to be patient. You have to trust the process. You have to keep showing up every day and doing the work. Change does not happen overnight. It happens through consistent daily practice. It happens through repetition. It happens through persistence. Think of it like going to the gym. If you go to the gym once, you're not going to see results. But if you go to the gym every day for a year, your body will transform. The same is true for your mind, your emotions, your life. Daily practice is what creates lasting change. So commit to a daily practice. Commit to meditation. Commit to mental rehearsal. Commit to cultivating elevated emotions. Commit to being conscious of your thoughts and choosing new ones. Commit to becoming the person you want to be. And do it every single day, regardless of what is happening in your external world. Some days will be easy. Some days will be hard. Some days you will feel like you're making progress. Some days you will feel like nothing is working. But keep going. Keep showing up. Keep practicing. Because every time you do, you are strengthening the new neural pathways. You are reinforcing the new emotional patterns. You are becoming more and more of the new you. And eventually, there will be a tipping point. There will be a moment when the new patterns become stronger than the old patterns. There will be a moment when the new you becomes the default. And that is when everything changes. That is when the external world begins to reflect the internal changes you have made. That is when the synchronicities begin. That is when the opportunities appear. That is when the healing occurs. That is when the miracles happen. But you have to be willing to invest in yourself. You have to be willing to do the work before you see the results. You have to be willing to change before your circumstances change. This is what it means to live by faith instead of by sight. This is what it means to create your reality instead of reacting to it. Let me talk about the concept of survival versus creation, because I think this is so important to understand. Most people are living in survival mode. They're constantly stressed, constantly worried, constantly anxious about the future or regretful about the past. They're focused on threats. They're focused on problems. They're focused on what could go wrong. When you are in survival mode, your body is producing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones are designed to help you deal with short-term threats. They mobilize energy. They heighten your senses. They prepare you to fight or flee. And this is great if you're being chased by a lion. But it is not great if it becomes your chronic state of being. When you are in survival mode chronically, those stress hormones create all kinds of problems. They suppress your immune system. They dysregulate your hormones. They accelerate aging. They cause inflammation. They impair cognitive function. They literally break down your body. But more than that, survival mode keeps you focused on matter. It keeps you focused on the external world. It keeps you focused on your body, on your environment, on time. And when you're focused on these things, you cannot create. You can only react. You can only try to manage the problems in your existing reality. You cannot envision or manifest a new reality. Creation requires a different state. Creation requires relaxation. Creation requires trust. Creation requires letting go of the known and opening to the unknown. Creation requires moving beyond survival and into the elevated emotions of the heart. When you are in a creative state, your body produces different chemistry. Instead of stress hormones, you produce hormones like oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, endorphins. These are the feel-good hormones. The hormones of connection, of joy, of well-being. And these hormones support health. They support healing. They support regeneration. They support longevity. So there's a direct connection between your emotional state and your physical health. There's a direct connection between how you feel and how your body functions. And if you want to heal, if you want to thrive, if you want to live a long and healthy life, you have to learn how to move out of survival and into creation. How do you do this? You do it by changing what you give your attention to. Remember, where you place your attention is where you place your energy. If you're constantly placing your attention on problems, you're giving your energy to problems. You're feeding them. You're keeping them alive. You're making them more real. But if you place your attention on possibilities, if you place your attention on your vision, if you place your attention on who you are becoming, you give your energy to creation. You feed your dreams. You make your future more real than your past. This is what meditation allows you to do. It allows you to withdraw your attention from the external world and from the body and place it on the internal world, on the realm of thought and feeling and imagination. And in that inner realm, you can begin to create. You can begin to envision. You can begin to become. When you close your eyes and go within, you are literally tuning out the external world. You're reducing the signal from your senses. You are quieting the noise of your environment. And in that quietness, you can connect to something deeper. You can connect to the field of infinite possibility. You can connect to the source of creation itself. Some people call this God. Some people call it the universe. Some people call it source energy. Some people call it the quantum field. The name does not matter. What matters is that there is an intelligence that underlies all of reality. There's a field of consciousness that is creative, that is abundant, that is loving, that is infinitely wise. And you're connected to that field. You are an expression of that field. You're not separate from it. When you meditate, when you go within, when you move beyond your analytical mind, you can connect to this intelligence. You can tap into its wisdom. You can align with its creative power. And when you do, remarkable things become possible. I have seen it happen so many times. People who were diagnosed with terminal illness who healed completely. People who were stuck in poverty for decades who became financially abundant. People who were alone and lonely who found deep and meaningful relationships. People who were depressed and hopeless who discovered joy and purpose. And in every case, the change began on the inside. The change began with a shift in consciousness. The change began with a new way of thinking and feeling and being. This is not magic. This is not wishful thinking. This is how reality works. Your consciousness creates your reality. Your inner world creates your outer world. Change your consciousness and you change your life. But I want to be very clear about something. This work is not about escaping reality. It is not about denial. It is not about pretending that problems do not exist. It is about recognizing that you have the power to change your experience. It is about understanding that your perception shapes your reality. It is about taking full responsibility for your life and using that responsibility to create something better. If you have a health challenge, I am not saying ignore it. I'm not saying do not see a doctor. What I am saying is that your mind and your emotions play a huge role in your health. And by changing how you think and feel, you can support your healing. You can enhance whatever treatment you are receiving. You can activate your body's own healing capacities. If you have financial challenges, I am not saying ignore them. I am not saying do not take practical action. What I am saying is that your beliefs and emotions around money are creating your financial reality. And by changing those beliefs and emotions, you can open yourself to new opportunities. You can become a vibrational match for abundance. You can create a different financial future. If you have relationship challenges, I'm not saying ignore them. What I am saying is that you attract people and experiences that match your energetic state. And by changing your state, you can attract different people and different experiences. You can become a vibrational match for the love you desire. This work is about empowerment. It is about recognizing that you're not a victim of circumstances. It is about understanding that you have far more power than you have been led to believe. It is about stepping into your role as the creator of your life. And when you step into that role, when you truly embrace it, something magical happens. You stop waiting for life to happen to you, and you start making life happen through you. You stop reacting, and you start creating. You stop being a victim, and you become a visionary. Let me share something with you about the nature of time. In our ordinary experience, time seems to flow in one direction, from past to present to future. And we tend to think of the future as something that has not happened yet, something that is unknown, something that we will discover when we get there. But from the perspective of quantum physics, all possibilities already exist. The future is not empty. It is full. It is full of infinite possibilities, all existing simultaneously in a state of potential. And what determines which possibility becomes your reality? Your consciousness, your observation, your state of being. So the future you want already exists. The healthy body you desire already exists. The abundant life you envision already exists. The loving relationship you dream of already exists. Not as a physical reality yet, but as a potential, as a possibility, as a wave of probability waiting to be collapsed into matter. Your job is not to create something from nothing. Your job is to connect to the possibility that already exists and draw it into physical reality through your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Your job is to become a vibrational match for the future you want so that the universe can deliver it to you. This is why feeling the emotion of your future is so powerful. Because when you feel it, you are connecting to it. You are linking your present moment to that future possibility. You are creating a bridge of energy that allows the future to flow into your life. Most people do the opposite. They feel the emotions of their past, and they recreate that past in their future. They stay connected to what was, and they keep getting more of what was. But when you break that connection, when you stop feeling the emotions of the past and start feeling the emotions of your future, you change the trajectory of your life. You redirect the flow of time through your being. This is what it means to live in the future instead of the past. This is what it means to create rather than react. This is what it means to become supernatural. Now I use that word supernatural very deliberately, because what I am describing goes beyond the ordinary laws of nature as we understand them. It goes beyond the Newtonian paradigm of cause and effect. It enters the realm of the quantum, where consciousness and matter are not separate, where thought can influence physical reality, where healing can happen spontaneously, where miracles are possible. But here's the beautiful thing. The supernatural is not really supernatural at all. It is simply a higher understanding of nature. It is simply recognizing how reality actually works at its most fundamental level. And when you align with these principles, when you work with them instead of against them, what seems miraculous becomes normal. What seems impossible becomes possible. I have seen people heal from stage 4 cancer. I have seen people reverse autoimmune diseases. I have seen people grow new cartilage in their joints. I have seen blind people regain their sight. I have seen paralyzed people walk again. And in every single case, the healing began with a shift in consciousness. The healing began with a change in thought and emotion. The healing began when the person stopped being the victim of their body and became the creator of their health. Your body has an incredible capacity for healing. It is constantly regenerating itself. Every day, billions of cells die and new cells are born. Your body is not static. It is dynamic. It is constantly changing. And the blueprint for how those new cells form comes from the information field, from consciousness, from mind. If you keep sending your body the same signals, the same thoughts, the same emotions, it will keep creating the same body. But if you send it new signals, new thoughts, new emotions, it will begin to create a new body. This is not metaphor. This is biology. Your genes are constantly being expressed differently based on the signals they receive from your environment. In your internal environment, your thoughts and emotions is a major part of that signaling. This is the field of epigenetics, the study of how gene expression is influenced by factors other than DNA sequence. And what epigenetics shows us is that we are not victims of our genes. We are not predetermined to get the diseases our parent had. We have far more control over our genetic expression than we ever realized. When you feel stressed, when you feel afraid, when you feel angry, when you feel hopeless, you're sending signals to your genes that activate survival programs. You are telling your genes that the environment is dangerous, that resources are scarce, that threats are everywhere. And your genes respond accordingly. They activate disease processes. They accelerate aging. They break down the body. But when you feel love, when you feel gratitude, when you feel joy, when you feel at peace, you send different signals. You tell your genes that the environment is safe, that resources are abundant, that life is good, and your genes respond accordingly. They activate healing processes. They promote regeneration. They support vitality and longevity. So you're not a victim of your genes. You are the master of your genes, and you master them through your state of being. This is why I say that the greatest gift you can give yourself is a daily practice of meditation and mental rehearsal. Because in that practice, you are literally reprogramming your biology. You are changing your brain. You are changing your body. You are changing your genes. You are becoming a new person at the level of your cells. And as you become new on the inside, your life becomes new on the outside. New opportunities appear. New relationships form. New health emerges. New abundance flows. Not because you're chasing these things, but because you have become a vibrational match for them. You have changed your signal, and the universe is responding to your new signal. Let me talk about something that I call the sweet spot of the generous present moment. This is the place where all creation happens. It is the place where you have access to infinite possibility. It is the place where time ceases to exist and only now remains. When you are fully present, fully here, fully now, you are not in your past, and you are not projecting into your future. You are simply being. You are pure awareness. You are consciousness without content. And in that state, you are connected to everything. You are connected to the unified field. You are connected to all that is. Most people spend very little time in the present moment. Their minds are constantly wandering into the past or projecting into the future. They are thinking about what happened yesterday or worrying about what might happen tomorrow. They're lost in memories or fantasies. They are anywhere but here. And when you're not present, you are not creating. You are only recycling. You are recycling the past into the future. You are recreating what has been instead of creating what could be. But when you become present, truly present, something remarkable happens. The past loses its grip on you. The future stops creating anxiety. You feel a sense of peace and expansion. You feel connected to something greater than yourself. You feel alive in a way that you rarely feel in ordinary consciousness. This is the state that mystics and sages have been pointing to for thousands of years. This is the state of enlightenment, of awakening, of liberation. It is not something you achieve in the future. It is something you access now, in this moment, by becoming fully present. And here is the beautiful paradox. When you become fully present, when you stop trying to control the future and simply rest in now, That is when the future you desire can actually come to you, because you have stopped blocking it with your anxiety and your doubt and your attachment. You have opened a space for it to arrive. This is what I mean by surrender. Not giving up, not being passive, but letting go of the need to know how and when things will happen. Trusting that the intelligence that creates worlds knows how to orchestrate the details of your life. Relaxing into the mystery. Enjoying the process. Being at peace with what is while simultaneously holding a vision of what could be. It seems like a contradiction. How can you be at peace with what is and also want something different? But it is not a contradiction. It is the essence of creation. You accept where you are because resistance only creates more of what you resist. But you also hold a vision of where you want to be because that vision pulls you forward. You live in the tension between acceptance and aspiration. And in that tension, transformation happens. So be patient with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. This is a journey, not a destination. There is no finish line. There is only growth. There is only becoming. There is only the endless adventure of evolution. Every day is an opportunity to become more of who you truly are. Every challenge is an invitation to grow. Every setback is feedback, showing you where you still have work to do. Nothing is wasted. Everything is useful. Everything is leading you somewhere. And where is it leading you? Toward your highest potential. Toward your fullest expression, toward the life you are meant to live and the person you are meant to be. Not according to anyone else's standards, according to your own soul's knowing, according to the unique gifts and purpose that you came here to express. You are not here by accident. You are here for a reason. You have something to contribute that no one else can contribute in exactly the way you can. There's a calling on your life, a purpose, a mission. And when you align with that calling, when you say yes to that purpose, everything falls into place. The universe supports you. Doors open. Resources appear. People show up who can help you. But you have to be willing to step into the unknown. You have to be willing to leave the familiar behind. You have to be willing to become someone you have never been in order to have a life you have never had. This is the hero's journey. The journey from the known to the unknown and back again. Transformed. The journey of leaving home, facing challenges, discovering your true nature, and returning with gifts to share. Every great story is a version of this journey, and your life is your version of it. So what is calling you? What vision lights up your soul? What would you do if you knew you could not fail? What would you become if you let go of all your limitations? These are not just nice questions to ponder. These are invitations to create. When you ask yourself these questions and you feel into the answers, you are beginning to connect to your future self. You are beginning to activate possibilities. You are beginning to step into the version of you that has been waiting to emerge. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for the right circumstances. Do not wait until you feel ready. You will never feel completely ready. The readiness comes from the doing. The confidence comes from the acting. The faith comes from the leaping. So leap. Take the step. Make the commitment. Declare to yourself and to the universe that you are ready for change, that you are willing to do the work, that you are committed to becoming the person you know you can be. And then do the work. Show up every day. Meditate. Rehearse your new self. Feel the emotions of your future. Break the addiction to the familiar emotions of your past. Make new choices. Take new actions. Be patient. Trust the process. Because it works. I have seen it work thousands of times. I have seen ordinary people create extraordinary transformations. I have seen people who thought they were stuck forever break free and create lives beyond their wildest dreams. And if they can do it, you can do it too. You are powerful beyond your knowing. You are capable beyond your imagining. You are worthy beyond your doubting. And the life you dream of is not only possible, it is waiting for you to claim it. waiting for you to become it, waiting for you to step into the fullness of who you are. So step into it. Step into your power. Step into your purpose. Step into the magnificent being that you already are, underneath all the programming and conditioning and limitation. That being is your true self. That being is eternal and infinite and connected to all that is. That being does not need to be fixed or improved. It only needs to be remembered, reclaimed, expressed. And that is what this work is really about. It is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who you have always been. It is about clearing away the layers of forgetting, the veils of illusion, the stories of limitation. It is about coming home to yourself. When you come home to yourself, when you rest in your own being, when you know who you really are, everything changes. Not because you change the world, but because you change yourself. And when you change yourself, the world you experience changes. This is the secret that has been hidden in plain sight throughout all the ages. This is the truth that mystics and masters have been teaching forever. You are the creator of your reality. Your consciousness creates your experience. Your inner world manifests your outer world. Believe it, live it, become it, and watch as your life transforms in ways that seem miraculous, but are actually completely natural. Natural to the quantum universe we live in. Natural to the creative consciousness that you are. You have everything you need, right here, right now, within you. The power, the wisdom, the love, it is all there. It has always been there, waiting for you to access it, waiting for you to trust it, waiting for you to let it guide your life. So close your eyes, go within, connect to that power, feel it pulsing through you, feel it as your own heartbeat, your own breath, your own life force. And from that place, from that connection, from that knowing, create. Create the thoughts that serve you. Create the emotions that heal you. Create the actions that express you. Create the life that fulfills you. Because you can. Because you were born to. Because this is what you came here to do. Not to suffer. Not to struggle. Not to survive. But to thrive. To create. To love. To express the unique and precious gift that is you. And when you do not just change your own life. You change the world. Because we are all connected. We are all one. And when one person raises their consciousness, it creates a ripple effect that touches everyone. Your transformation is not just for you. It is for all of us. It is for the evolution of humanity itself. So thank you. Thank you for being on this journey. Thank you for doing this work. Thank you for having the courage to change. Because it takes courage. It takes strength. It takes determination. And you have all of those things. Even when you doubt yourself. Even when you feel weak. Even when you want to give up. Keep going. Keep going because your future self is waiting for you. Keep going because your highest potential is calling you. Keep going because the world needs what you have to give. Keep going because you deserve a life of joy and purpose and love and abundance. Keep going because it is possible. Keep going because you can. And one day, sooner than you think, you will look back at this moment and you will see it as the beginning of your new life, the beginning of your transformation, the beginning of becoming who you were always meant to be. And you'll be grateful for the challenges that made you strong, grateful for the pain that taught you compassion, grateful for the doubts that made your faith real, grateful for every step of the journey that brought you here, to this moment, to this life, to this beautiful, miraculous existence. Your personality creates your personal reality, and you are about to create something extraordinary.